Just a little over 24 hours ago, the board of the St George Illawarra Dragons announced Anthony Griffin as the club's new head coach for the next 2 seasons. Griffin has previously been in charge at the Brisbane Broncos and Penrith Panthers. His winning percentage sits at a very respectable 55%, and he's been kind enough to join us this evening at the 360 desk. Anthony Griffin, good evening, congratulations. And I will say this, once a coach, always a coach, eh?
Thanks, Ben. Great to be here, mate.
Is that how it feels? Couldn't get enough of it?
No, mate, no, I wasn't finished, and I wouldn't be sitting here now if I didn't want to coach again. I think my best days are still in front of me, so really looking forward to the Dragons and really humbled to be part of such a great club, a great brand, not just in the NRL, but Australian sport.
Well, let's get straight to it. The Dragons have played finals football twice in the last 9 years. How are you going to fix the joint venture?
Well, I think on the field to start with, just clearly defensively, they've leaked at 23, 24 points a game now for 2 seasons. So that comes back to probably the way they train, the attitude, technique, their list. But we need to get a harder edge on the squad, in my opinion. But to do that, there's list management and rosters to take care of. They've lost a lot of experience with James Graham and DeBellin obviously not being able to play, and Frizzell's going to leave. So there's some decisions to be made then too that we'll start to do together to make sure we get the strongest squad we can to start next year.
So what are the gaps that you need to fill in that roster?
Yeah, well, as I alluded to there, Kenny, I think forwards are the main one. And they've got some wonderful young forwards coming through, but it's important that we get a stronger forward pack as possible so there's not too much burden, on those young players as they're developing.
How quick can you get them travelling north on the ladder?
Oh, well, hopefully very quickly, yeah. I would say how far north? That's that's the challenge. They've had up until the last 2 weeks, they're having a pretty good period. They were culminating that a really solid performance against the Roosters. They beat Parramatta, they beat the Broncos. So, there's a lot of green shoots there, and Paul McGregor's been there a long time and done a lot of heavy lifting there. So there's a lot of green shoots in the club. I think the roster management for the start is the most important thing. And I had, obviously with the bubble, and I'm not going to be involved in the day-to-day stuff until you get in there and actually get a really good look at what's going on. I couldn't give you a real definitive answer, but I'd say roster management and defence at the moment, if we get those 2 things right over the next 6 months, the side will be on their way.
There's 2 parts to roster management. There's having a look at your current list, deciding what you want to keep, what you want to let go. But then you have to get out into the market, and whatever you let go, you need to replace. We've both had a look. There's not a hell of a lot available, and there's going to be a lot of clubs in the market in what we would term a rebuilding phase. Yeah. So you've got 2 years, and roster management, I take it, is going to be a focus for you. But having scoured the market yourself, do you see opportunity for the Dragons?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the first place you've got to see opportunity is from within. I think it's really important for the Dragons that, going forward, that they continue to build from within. And my expertise will be to help them do that and improve that. I think they've got some tremendously talented players that have just started playing or are on their list, on their rookie list. So that'll be the first place. If you can grow organically, it takes care of your external purchases there in a way, because then it's clear, the strategic purchases that you need to make on the open market. If you trade on the open market, you end up paying a premium for players, and you're not really sure what your team's going to look like from within. So I think the first thing is, we build from within, get the best out of what's there, get the best juniors a pathway, and then strategically, go to the market and
top it up.
Yeah, and there mightn't be much on face value out there, but these days the market's always open.
It's very fast moving, isn't it?
Yeah, you find out what you need, and then you find a way to get it. It's amazing how many players come on the market when you're looking.
Are you suggesting that roster management isn't just a science, it's also a dark art? That's what I'm hearing.
You love it, don't you?
Yeah. Over to you.
So, talking about that roster, obviously there's been a few things this year that we've looked at? Ben Hunt, is he a halfback? Is he a hooker? You look at Corey Norman, is it value for money? Dufty at fullback, is he the fullback? Is he the answer? Can you just give us a quick rundown on your thoughts there?
Yeah, that's one of the strengths I see on the list. They've got quality playmakers. You know, with McGuinness at hooker, Young Clune, Saylor, Sullivan in the background. And as I said before, there's a lot of quality playmakers that have dropped out of the NRL over the last few years. Cronk, Thurston, Maloney, will Cameron Smith play next year? So I think the Dragons right now are well placed. Where they play, Ben Hunt went within a play of steering a team to a grand final 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. You know, I haven't scratched him off as being a halfback if that's what's best suited for the team. Corey Norman's extremely talented, classy player. Dufty's obviously one of the best attacking fullbacks in the league, so there's a lot of pluses there. And I think they're well placed. You know, obviously the art of putting them together and forming a combination is the trick in coaching and developing that playmaker list.
The catalyst for Paul McGregor leaving the job when he did was that he went to the management and said he wanted to pick the team. They didn't allow him to do that. It was picked by a committee. So firstly, will you be picking the team yourself? And secondly, the other part to the Dragons, which has also caused a little bit of concern for various people around the game, is the fact that they have Ian Millwood in there who chooses the roster and runs the roster. What's your contribution going to be there as well?
Oh, I think it'll be a positive one. I mean, we're talking about development of coaches and your strategy. I think it's really important that you have a collaborative, circular leadership model in what you do going forward. And Ian Millwood's been there for a long time, and I say this without having worked with any of them yet. We'll make decisions together. What I would say as a head coach is, I don't know what's happened in the past. I'm just being positive about what will happen in the future. Obviously, if someone employs you to be a head coach, there's a lot of weight that goes in your decision making. In that role, whether it be selection during the week or roster management or standards in the place, and I'll be having a strong say in that. Otherwise, they would have never brought me into the job.
But you are going to demand that you get to pick the team week to week. Is that part of your pitch?
I don't think I'll have to demand to do that, Ben.
You'd expect it to happen?
Yeah, I'm the new head coach, and they've put me there for a reason. And as I say, I don't know what's happened there in the past, but I'll certainly be taking plenty of advice from staff and senior players. But in the end, that's why they take you there is to help them change and to help them win, and I'll be doing that in a positive way. So
just to go back to the spine, the best solution for you at this point, based on what you've seen and your experience, particularly with Ben Hunt and Corey Norman, is that Cameron McInnes is your 9, Ben Hunt is your 7, and Corey Norman is your 6?
Yeah, well, we're picking the team now for next year. No, mate, the best solution is what's best for the team. But what I know about Ben Hunt is that he's a high-quality halfback. Obviously, he hasn't been performing to the level he'd be happy with, and whatever decision we make about where anyone plays, it'll be the best decision for the team going forward.
There's been a lot of feathers ruffled with your appointment. Some people have sort of, we've all had a bit of a spat in the media about what's been going on there. Do you feel that there's going to be a certain element next year, death riding, the way you blokes go?
Oh, mate, I don't come at it. You journalists, you're always into each other.
Yeah,
I've found. Since
you've clearly watched the show.
and I've been in the media the last couple of years, so I've seen it firsthand. It's a lot more calm on the other side when you're actually training and playing, getting ready for a game of football.
Yeah.
But mate, there's always that type of stuff around. I've been in the game a long time now, and my main focus, Kenty, is to help St George improve and to play a role for the St George Illawarra Dragons to become a better football team and a better club, so that their fans, their sponsors, their members, see a progression there in the club, and that's all I'm really concentrating on.
Are you a better coach now than the one that got sacked at the Panthers?
Yeah, I think I am. Yeah, absolutely.
How?
Well, first you learn your best lessons at the toughest times, and that period was a tough time for me. professionally and personally. So, I mean, I took a lot of responsibility for how that ended and you know, had a chance to self-reflect. And since then, I've worked a lot in the corporate space in developing teams and helping people reach their goals and connect better in the workplace, which has given me a whole new different angle to, you know, to how we all think together and how we need to, you know, combine together emotionally. So, you know, from the football experience, from the last football experience I had, I felt we were really successful, and, you know, the record speaks for itself there as far as, you know, the win rate at the Penrith Panthers. And since then, you know, I think I've really developed as a person and as a leader and ultimately as a football coach.
So you spoke before about consultative leadership, a circular leadership style where there's many people involved making decisions. Who else do you anticipate will be on your coaching staff? Do you think Dean Young stays at the Dragons as an assistant?
Yeah, I've got a great relationship with Dean. I've only known him for a while now. I spent 3 weeks with him last year, and I was really impressed with him, Ben, the standard of coach he is, and also the quality of person. And I'd want him to stay. And I haven't spoken to any of these guys yet. I had a brief chat to Dean, and as I say, I've been in the job 24 hours. But, you know, and someone with the experience of Shane Flanagan on that staff, you know, if it's his choice that he wants to stay and we can work it out, I don't see any reason to change too much there.
So it wasn't as though, as you pitch for this job, you're lining up a cast of a dozen people ready to march into the Dragons. You might make change over time, but you want to have a look first before you sort of change out people too quickly.
Yeah, I want to get in there and work with the the CEO and the general manager there and the other staff there. And look, I've got a lot of experience now, and I know what I think's right for a club. And you know, if I think it's right for the long-term benefit of the club, you know, we'll adjust some resources there. But there's certainly not going to be, I need to have all these people come with me to make sure that it gets done my way. You know, if there's someone that is leaving the club, or we think we've got a better way of doing a resource, we'll make those, you know, getting resources, we'll make those decisions then.
Is Jack de Belin part of the solution at the Dragons?
I don't know, mate. Obviously, that's a legal matter, and I think it's going to come to a head in November. So, you know, if he's cleared and can play, absolutely. But otherwise, I think we'll just sit and let that take its course.
Phil Gould has come out and said that he was forced to sack you, that it wasn't his choice, that he said he could still work with you.
No.
Is that how you remember it?
Well, look, I don't know, Kenty. Yeah, that's probably a question for the board. You know, yeah. If Phil's saying that he was forced to sack me, you know, that's not a question for me.
Are you worried about the cards are already marked in the relationship there between you two, and he's a big voice in the media.
Yeah.
Are you worried going into the future how that could reflect on the job you're doing at the Dragons?
No, not at all, mate. I've moved on. That was like I say, that was a period that finished in a way, was a really successful period in my career, and also the Penrith Panthers time. You know, they'd never been to the playoffs 3 years in a row. You know, and I played a role in that. I'm not saying I did all of it or didn't do all of it. You know, Gus did some great work out there. But, you know, fundamentally, that relationship broke down. So I'm not proud of that, but I've moved on. I'm positive about what I can do for the Dragons, and I'm looking forward to working with a great club.
There is some talk around the game that the Dragons still operate as two clubs, that there's a split down the middle in the boardroom. Did you get a sense as you interviewed for the job and ultimately got appointed that was the case? No,
I got no sense of that at all, Ben. I know there's been that talk around, but my experience with the Dragons has been a good one. Up until now, it's been a very short one, but I spoke to the board, as every person that went through that process did the other day, and in that short time, I found them, you know, really comfortable to talk to and good people. And I don't understand, you know, I'm being honest, the how the merger came about and what the challenge, whenever there'd be a merger, I imagine there'd be a challenge. So I don't understand those, and I haven't experienced or felt any division.
Can you win a premiership in the next 2 years?
I don't know, mate. Anything's possible. I think we'll be building towards one. I'm can be sure of that. So, what that looks like in 2 years, whether we're close enough, I don't know. Penrith got, they're there now. That's probably, been 3 or 4 years. Within 2 years, it might. I won't say it won't happen, but what I will say is we'll be building towards getting in range if everything goes our way.
All right, well, congratulations. It's good to see you back in a head coaching job. Can we lock you in now for 4 or 5 crosses for season 2021 for 360?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You ready to appear regularly and be grilled by old mate here?
You'll be the only one that we've got booked in so far. Say yes, sir.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll only come in after a win.
That's what the others do, so you might as well.
Well done and good luck in the dark arts of managing that roster, eh?
Thanks, mate.
All right, if you've got any questions about